Doesn't know it, but a year from now our family will be torn apart, and I will move far away and won't see or talk to him for 5 years.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mommy aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are discussing how even getting a divorce from some men is not enough to get rid of them. Now, before we continue this video, I just want to leave a warning. This video will talk about DV and unaliving. Now, this video is based on a certain situation, a certain saddening and tragic situation that happened to a woman recently. Now, this lady was trying to get a divorce from her husband. Now, some days before the tragic situation happened, she was talking about the fact that she's in the process of divorcing her husband, and she was saying that her husband has been really like cooperative, and she was seeking for opinion about the whole process.
So, about to be a newly single mom, and I am in the middle of a divorce. My husband is being incredible though, like really and truly. Like we're working together, everything's great, we're splitting everything down the middle, like, you know, everything is good. It is a very civil divorce with our daughter in mind, and I really appreciate that. However, you know, I'm gonna be on my own, single income right now, and he will be helping with her, he will be supporting her, you know. So essentially, like, I'm really thankful for that, and that I will not have to worry so much about supporting her. However, I will be on a very limited income, with buying a new house and, you know, paying a mortgage and all that stuff. So I've never done this before. I've never been on my own before. So if you have any tips, saving money, making money, anything like that, like, I would really appreciate it. Like, you know, coffee at home, you know, I take caffeine pills, I do my own hair, nails, everything. Like, I do all that. So yeah, if you just have any tips, like, I would really appreciate it, because, like, I'm a little scared right now.
Now, about 2 days after she posted this video, her husband, that she was even saying has been cooperative and the rest, decided to unalive her and unalive himself. So he was apparently pretending to cooperate with her because he knew he wanted to carry out this very terrible act. Any which way, people had things to say about the whole situation and even how our funeral has been conducted.
Feel as though they will not let this woman escape this man, even in death, and it's sickening. If you don't know who this is Jennifer Sheffield. Jennifer got on TikTok and made a video talking about how her and her husband were in the process of divorce, and she was essentially going on to talk about how amazing he was being during the whole thing, and how everything was going smooth, and they were remaining cordial, and they were just going to divorce amicably. And she really did, in that video, sing his praises, talking about how amazing he was being during the divorce. And then her soon-to-be ex-husband proceeded to take her life not too long after she made that TikTok video. So not only was she attempting to leave a marriage that, in my opinion, was very tumultuous and obviously dangerous if she ultimately lost her life at the hands of this man, not only did she attempt to remain cordial and even continue to speak highly of him in public settings, and not only did that do her no good, and she did ultimately end up losing her life, but then to add insult to injury, when you go to the Facebook pages of some of his family members, you see that they are apparently giving them joint funerals. Joint funerals. And it's like, hey, I can't tell anybody how to grieve, right? But in what world do you think this woman would want to have the final celebration that she will ever have in her entire life, right, be celebrated alongside the man that caused her to not be able to have any more celebrations in life? Like, I couldn't imagine my child being unalived and then the person that unalived them unaliving themselves as well, and me being like, you know what? I think we should bury them together. I think we should have joint services. I just couldn't imagine that. The only rational explanation that I could possibly come up with in my mind was that hopefully they were doing it like for the sake of the children, because very clearly the children are not going to immediately process all that is going on. So instead of them having to go to 2 separate funerals, let's just do it all in one big shebang. But it just kind of breaks my heart for her, because it just seems as though she was attempting to escape. She was attempting to remain positive, which is why she was asking for advice on like what it's like to be a single mom, because she was going to be a newly single mother. She was just talking about how she was just, kind of excited to get a fresh start in life. And then like she had the man that she was trying to leave kill her. And now after her attempt to escape fails, she doesn't even get to have her own celebration of life. Like, it's almost as if he was able to succeed exactly what he wanted. You don't get to leave me. Even after death, even at your funeral, I'm gonna be there. And it's sick. And I am so sorry, but I have actually had my fill of some of the social media posts that I am seeing be made about him by like his friends or his family, because it's like, read the room. Like, I actually don't care if you went to high school with him, if you can't believe that he would do something like this. You haven't known the man since he was 16, 17. You don't know that man at all. I actually don't care if you worked with him every week. Y'all don't know each other past clocking in and clocking out. And it's just like, I'm having an easier time finding posts of people giving condolences to him or talking about how they can't believe he would do something like this than I am being able to find posts saying rest in peace to the poor woman who lost her life. Or I'm so sorry to the children who had both of their parents snatched away from them senselessly. And then not only did they have both their parents snatched away from them senselessly, but it was at the hands of their own father. I'm having a hard time finding those posts. I mean, I've seen a couple, but the ones of people, hold on. Like this post is very difficult to follow through. I've known both of them for a very long time, and they were 2 of the most fun, loving, energetic people to hang with. They love their friends and those babies so much. Prayers to the families and the girls. Rest in peace and fly high. Brandon, Sheffield, and Jennifer. Of course, he goes first. This one hits home a little too hard. Never assume you know the demons everyone is battling inside. He wasn't battling demons. He is the demon. And obviously, he didn't love those babies very much because he took away their father and their mother. People who love their children don't purposely choose to leave their children orphans due to their own petty feelings and emotions. Because at the end of the day, being upset over you and your wife divorcing is a petty emotion. Like, it is like a hard thing. It is heartbreaking to experience, but it is not worth people losing their lives over. People get divorced every single day. People move on, find new loves, get remarried. Thought process of, if I can't have you, no one else will. If you're going to leave me, I'll just take out the both of us, was very clearly more important than the supposed love he had for the children who are now left with nothing. Or like this comment, I understand the frustration. Allow me to share a story about Brandon Sheffield. He and my husband were in MMA and were each other's cornermen and trained together. My husband took a kick to the abdomen from Brandon while they were training. Long story short, it ended my husband's future or any chance at it, as his colon had ruptured and he had emergency surgery. Now, during all this, Brandon never left my side. He waited through the surgery, and when he took my husband's truck home, he found my birthday present in his truck and brought it to the hospital room. He wanted to make sure I got what my hubby bought me. He stayed in the room with me and we took turns tending to him. A few months later, Brandon wanted him to go to New Orleans with him, but his surgical wound had been left open to heal and he had a colostomy bag. I was afraid for him to go due to me having to pack his wound and change his dressings. Brandon asked me if I thought him, and he promised to care for him. Oh, of course you can't write a coherent thought out. Brandon asked me if I thought him and if he promised to care for him, could he go? He came over and I taught him, and off they went. He even called me with each dressing change and let me know all was okay. They were best buddies and Brandon was a gift. I know he loved Jennifer and nobody knows what happened. I was a little taken back by the shared ceremony. That was your common sense taking in. That was your instincts trying to take over, right? I was a little taken back by the shared ceremony of their funeral service, but I have been praying for them both and God showed me a different understanding. These 2, no matter what, would want those babies to see unity and love in the face of trauma and chaos. They live together, and no matter what, how it happened, the families are uniting to get through this. I think in light of them dying tragically, it would be a loss not to keep them united. It's easier for me to understand than explain, but I think the families are celebrating the life they had together in the purest form of forgiveness. We all grieve differently, but those two were loved, and I think focusing on forgiveness and the celebration of their life is much healthier. I hope this helps. We all have demons and or skeletons in our closet no matter what. We are all God's children, and forgiveness is key. My husband and I immediately forgave Brandon, and we never regretted it. How easy it must be for you to forgive him when you're still living and breathing and able to be here for your children if you have any. That's real. It's real convenient. Like somebody punching you in the face and me looking at the person who punched you and me being like, oh, I forgive you. It's fine. What? The only person that could forgive him is the person whose life he took. And she unfortunately is not here to do that. So, and it's like, are we not stopping to think that maybe this family and this friend group's very clear inability to acknowledge, or just plain unwillingness to acknowledge, the very clearly wrong things that are happening in front of them, their very clear inability or unwillingness to be honest about the very wrong things that are happening right in front of them, do you think that maybe could have possibly played a part in things being able to go as far as they did? Like, this is making it hard for, like, regardless of how nice you want, like, how much you want to talk about how amazing he was because he brought a birthday present to the hospital, right? This isn't doing anything but leading me to believe that maybe there were some red flags that showed, and y'all just prayed about it all the time. Gave it to God, gave it to God, gave it to God, until she got gave to God. Like, I know religious, like, people who are super, super, super religious like to believe that free will is just inherently a bad thing, right? And while your free will can lead you into temptation, it also gives you the capability of taking things into your own hands when necessary. Sometimes you don't need to give it to God. Sometimes you need to give it to the authorities. Sometimes you need to give it to, I don't know, a professional psychologist, therapist.
Y'all, this couple story is really insane. So the woman to the right is Jennifer, and she was 30 years old. She went online discussing her divorce with her husband and how they're in the process and that he was making it easy for her. She also expressed how grateful she was for his help and how cooperative he was. But little did she know this was all a facade, and this man had sinister plans. On December 28th, he decided to unalive himself and her. Though they seemed like they had it together, that was not the case.
About to be a newly single mom, and I am in the middle of a divorce. My husband is being incredible though, like really and truly, like we're working together, everything's great, we're splitting everything down the middle, like, you know, everything is good. It is a very civil divorce.
That was Jennifer Sheffield shortly before she was murdered by the husband she's referencing in that video. He murdered her for leaving him. And there are people with a lot to say on this topic, but I just have one thing to say, and it is to the men who feel inclined to point their finger at women in abusive relationships or who are by their partner or former partner to say, she should have known. She should have picked better. Well, then shouldn't everyone have known? His family, his friends, his male friends who probably had access to him in different ways, who had conversations with him that she never got to have, who saw him interacting with his former partners and women in a way that would have sent up red flags. Or maybe they were presented with the man that she's describing in that video. Amicable, reasonable, thoughtful, even insofar as he was placing their child at the top of the priority list during the divorce proceedings, to the point where she was praising him on the internet. And then he met the mother of his child. Why are women the only ones who are supposed to be clairvoyant? And why are we the ones who have to pay the highest price for obviously not having that ability? When we don't point the fingers at his family and say, why didn't they know? Why didn't they pick it? When we don't point the finger at the men who knew him and say, why didn't they know? Why didn't they pick it? I'll tell you why, because it's much easier to say it's our fault, her fault, because then you can wipe your hands of any responsibility to change anything that's happening to women. And that is why I call you dangerous and indifferent.
So I've been offline for a bit. My last video was a bit of a crash out for me. My mental health has not been great. So I had to take some time off, but I wanted to come back on really quick to talk about the Jennifer Sheffield case. She was on my FYP in the beginning of December. She had posted a video about leaving her marriage and how her husband was being supportive and cooperative with her. And she was looking forward to her new life as a single mom. And as a lot of us know, a few weeks after that video was posted, her husband unalived her and himself leaving their 2 kids with no mother and no father. Besides feeling immense shock and sadness when I read about Jennifer's story, the one thing that really came into my mind is this saying that a lot of people have put into my comments whenever I've talked about the struggles in my marriage and my impending divorce. And that is, the man that you divorce is not the man that you marry. When I first talked to my husband about getting a divorce, I also hoped that this could be something that would be amicable, that my husband would be cooperative and understanding of why I needed to do this. And I realized that I was still looking for my husband to behave how he behaved in the beginning of our marriage, not understanding completely that he's not that man anymore. This has been a slow burn for me, at least. I've been married for 17 years, so it's been a process all throughout these years of my husband changing into this person that I don't even know. He's like a stranger to me now. But when I saw Jennifer's video, I did understand the desire almost that you have for him to somehow just understand and show a last kindness or understanding to you about why you need to do this. But the man that we married is gone. He's gone. That's why we want to be divorced, because that man he's not there anymore. It's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible thing to accept, but it is definitely necessary when you are going on this road to divorce and trying to make this huge life change for yourself. I'm realizing that, and that difficulty of accepting that your husband's not the man that you married, it's definitely a process. It's a very painful process, and it can take years for you to get into acceptance of that. It took years for me. I hope people can have some grace and understanding for why women stay in these marriages for as long as they do, and how difficult it is for them to leave, not just because of their physical safety, but just mentally and emotionally, how difficult it is to accept that this person that you loved, you made a family with, you had children with, is now a stranger.
Happened to Jennifer Sheffield is absolutely tragic and devastating. I just saw a video of a young woman that it was so hopeful for her future and the new chapter of her life, talking about how she was going through a divorce to her husband that was amicable and that they were getting along, that he was going to help support their child, and she was looking for advice on how to save money, how to move on, how to be successful in the next chapter of her life. She seems so calm and airy and vibrant and sweet. And then the next video is that her soon-to-be ex-husband took her life and then took his own. I will never understand. It's just devastating. I cannot even imagine what her family's going through, or her child. Anyone who has been through domestic violence, you know that fear that that she was probably feeling, and that hopelessness and having her power taken and her choices taken from her. And that's awful. It's awful. If you ever and to leave an abuser, and I'm not saying that that's what was happening here. I can't say that for a fact, but I'm assuming something wasn't right, that he obviously was not stable-minded, okay? You leave a partner that is not ready for you to leave at the most dangerous times. So if you do plan to leave, and I hope that you do, make sure you have a plan, okay? Make sure that you have support. You can do it. Just don't do it alone. If you are alone, contact authorities, get some support, find a friend, somebody to help you with that process, or make a plan to do it when they are not around or anywhere near you. I cannot imagine what her family and her child is going through. If you've not seen this, please go and look up Jennifer Sheffield. I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. I will tag her below her page, or I will put her name in the description. Go and show her some love and support, because I'm sure her family will eventually love to read that. Maybe not right now, but eventually they'll love to read those kind words. When I watched her video, I thought to myself, what a beautiful, kind-spirited woman. I hope and pray that she is successful and she moves on and she lives her best life. And I see that she's had her life taken by a murderer, by the man that she was speaking highly of and hopeful of in her video. Oh, so sad.
for those who have been keeping up with the Jennifer Sheffield, please tell me these pictures aren't real or that I'm just looking at them wrong, because I am floored. Like, I was already floored by him being mentioned as her husband that preceded her in death in her obituary, and then hearing that they had their services, visitation and services, in the same place around the same time. So I don't know if they were in the same room. I don't think they were, because his visitation was from 12 to 2, while hers was from 12 to 3:30, or 12 to 3. I can't really remember, so don't quote me on that. But hers was longer, which makes me think they were in 2 separate rooms. But either way, still in the same place. She was given her service the same place her murderer husband that she was trying to divorce was also having his service. And he got to have his service first. That's, But kind of like how these pictures that his family posted, Jennifer's picture came last of what her service, the table at her service looked like. And this is what it looked like. Oh my God, y'all. I know nothing about this girl, but from what I've heard, just a wonderful, wonderful human. The videos I've seen on TikTok, she seems wonderful. But what I can tell you is she was beautiful. And this is just so, so, so sad. But anyway, this is her table from what I know. Please someone correct me and say I am totally wrong, that this was just off to the side and she had a huge spread over at hers, because I can't even imagine this was all it was. But either way, still very upset that they were in the same place and he was mentioned in her obituary. And y'all, I can't even believe this is what his was. If that's what hers was and his was this, I'm actually going to riot. Like, I cannot sit on this one. But this was his table that his family posted. And yes, everyone has the right to grieve in their own way. But part of me, and again, I have no idea, and someone please correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like his family did everything with these services, both of theirs. And I feel like they played a major hand in the obituary. Like, I don't know. In my mind, in the fake scenario I've created, again, fake scenario I've created, his family took on all cost of both funerals. Or he had money set aside. I don't know. But I feel like there was just something to where her family wasn't as powerful in this and didn't have much of a say. And also, I'm hearing conflicting things about the 2 girls being just his or one being hers. I'm not sure. But what I can say is this was not for the kids. To have her picture like that and his picture like that, that's not for the kids. And I think that's very insulting to domestic violence victims, because how many times do they say they stayed for the kids? So we're saying, oh, this is so peaceful and so nice for the kids. No, Jennifer deserved to have everything of hers away from her husband that she was divorcing, that killed her, her murderer. That's insane. Why would, that is so disrespectful to her. And I'm still so irate about it. But this sent me over the edge, because how on earth is that his and this is hers? And the niece, his niece that posted it, I know she had good sentiment behind posting it, but this is so tone deaf. Like, this is insane. And I know nobody knows how to handle this situation, but let's first start with not celebrating her murderer in the same building as her. Not putting his name in her obituary. How about that? That would be great.
I feel like I just had an out-of-body experience. This really sweet lady pops up on my For You page because she's about to be a newly single mom. She's going through a divorce, and she's asking for like tips on how to handle that. And she's talking about how her soon-to-be ex-husband is being amazing during the entire process, and he's being supportive. I go to the comment section to leave a comment of support because I've been there, and all the comments are saying RIP to her. Barely 2 weeks after she posted that video, just recently on the 28th of December, her soon-to-be ex-husband killed her. And this is what we mean when we say, like, you can't tell the good ones from the bad ones. I'm sure there seems to be, from what she said, nothing in that relationship leading up to that point that would have made her think that this was going to happen to her, that made her suspicious, that he was going to turn dangerous. In fact, she was talking about how well he was taking the entire scenario, just for 2 weeks later for him to turn around and do that to her. Like, you truly never know a person, and this is why women feel like we have to be on guard with many men. Anyway, rest in peace to Jennifer Sheffield. That was just gut-wrenching, honestly.
I am unalived by my husband whilst I'm in the process of divorcing him, and then he unalives himself. And my family thinks that it's appropriate to have a joint funeral where we're laid to rest together. I'm haunting you. I'm haunting your asses. I'm haunting each and every one of you, each and every adult that had a part in this. I'm haunting the funeral director. I'm haunting the person who wrote my obituary, which says that I was preceded in death by the husband who murdered me. How is that possible? Because precede means that happened before. There's no way my evil devil husband could have murdered himself before he murdered me. So that's cray cray. Even mention that demon's name in the obituary is crazy, let alone it being inaccurate. Oh my God. If my epitaph reads loving wife and mother, and not just like loving mother or just my fucking name and the year I was born, the year I died, if it says loving wife, one member of my family who okayed this will have a peaceful night's sleep for the rest of their lives. Poltergeist, baby, poltergeist.
Jennifer Sheffield deserved better. Her husband took her life, and then his own, because they were getting divorced and she was going to be moving on. And y'all can be mad at me all y'all want, but I do not think it is right that they had a conjoined funeral. I really believe, considering the circumstances, out of respect, she should have gotten her own funeral, her own space, her own celebration. I mean, there's a giant picture with his face on it. Come on now. To me, personally, that is just so disrespectful. I don't know, y'all can be mad at me all y'all want to for my last post, but this is just my genuine feelings.
Now, this whole situation is saddening, is tragic, is annoying, and it's making me angry. Because how is it that it's just like, what is it? Because it seems like with some men, you cannot stay and you cannot live alive. Like, some people will stay in a very abusive marriage and get unalived. Now you want to leave, you will not get unalive again. What is it? What is the whole issue? Like, I don't get it. It's just, it's annoying how some men are just not cultured, don't have sense. Like, this person, it was very wicked, selfish. The fact that he have children, he didn't even think about the fact that the children are going to be without their mother, without their father, the mental health of those children, because their life is forever changed in a negative way. It is going to take years of therapy that might not even work for these children to have a resemblance of a life. Like, I can't even imagine the turmoil those children are having right now, because this whole situation is very tragic and they must be going through it at this point. The guy was just, I don't know. I really don't know what he was thinking. Like, how dare she have the audacity to say she wants to leave him? How dare her? Like, it's practically like, you're not going anywhere. Even if we have to go together, there's nowhere you're going to. We enter this marriage and it's like, it's only death that is going to separate us. And I really am so sorry for her. I'm so sorry for her kids. I'm so sorry for her family. She had so much dream, because I think she was a nurse, but she was also trying to get into med school and become a doctor. And that man has cut it all short. Oh my goodness. It's just horrible how some men are. I don't understand how some men are so selfish, so wicked, so evil, that they will rather unalive their wife, their women, their girlfriend, than allow them to be happy without them. It's just very, very horrible the way some people think. And it's very horrible how this man has just cut her life short and has affected his kids and her kids for the rest of their life. I'm so sorry for the kids, because I'm just thinking how they are going to cope. Their parents are dead, and it was their father that unalived their mother. I'm just thinking, how can we protect women? How are women going to be protected? Because you stay in the relationship, you might get unalived. You want to leave, you might get unalived. You tell somebody you cannot give them your number, you might get unalived. You say no to somebody, you cannot date them, or you don't want their advances, you get unalived. How are we supposed to protect ourselves? It's like we are not being hunted for just breathing and having the audacity to say no, for having the audacity to be independent, for having the audacity to want to leave a terrible situation. Because what is all this? What is all this? I don't even know what solution can be done at this point in time, because how do you explain this whole situation? How do you explain the mindset of some men? And that is why a lot of women are choosing the bear. Because at least with the bear, we know what we are confronting. But with some men, it's just like, I don't even understand anymore. Anyway, I don't know what you guys think about this whole tragic story, this whole sadness situation. I really would love to hear what you think women have to do to protect themselves from this kind of situation, because I'm so confused at this point. I'm out of it. I don't even know what people can do, because it's just like any small thing is triggering some men and they are just acting crazy. Because what is all this? Anyway, I love to hear your own thoughts about this whole situation. So please leave your comments in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, with what I said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.